morning, Storytime friends out there in virtual land, wherever you may be listening. So glad that you could join us here. Can we do our virtual greeting now? Our let's take a break rhyme? Everybody put your hands together and let's sing. Let's take a break, break, break from our shake, 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 and I'll wave hello to you. I'm gonna miss your kiss, 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 but my smile could still shine through. We've got to shrug, shrug, shrug instead of hug, hug, hug. Still I send my love so true. Love to all of our listeners out there, wherever you may be. Now, Mr. Brian is monitoring the page, so give us a shout out and let us know that you're listening and share this with all of your Facebook friends. Now, this summer, we have done stories about fairies and mermaids and giants and wizards, all kinds of creatures. So today, we're going to try to get in a couple that we haven't had time to do this summer. Are you ready? Okay, everyone have a seat and we'll do the story time song. Here we go. Story time, gather round, gather round. We find a seat in a cozy nook. We open the pages and take a look, 'cause you never know what you'll find in a book at story time, story time. Thank you so much for clapping and singing with me. I love it when all of my friends join in. So, our very first book today is called The Mummy and Other Adventures of Sam and Alice. And this is by Akimi Gutierrez. Let's find out how this brother and sister duo use their imagination. It's got 3 short little stories, and the first one is, What's in Sam's Sock? Alice and Sam were walking to the park. Ow, said Sam, there's something in my sock. I bet it's nothing but a teeny tiny pebble, said Alice. No, it's bigger than a pebble, said Sam. What if a baby mouse crawled into your sock? Asked Alice. I would love to have a baby mouse. There isn't a baby mouse in my sock, said Sam. I think it's a skateboard. What do you think, boys and girls? Maybe there are bunnies in your sock instead, asked Alice. Absolutely no bunnies are in my sock, said Sam. It's a robot. Or a rhinoceros, said Alice quietly. Nope, said Sam. I'm sure it's a dragon. But couldn't a sea lion have slipped into your sock? Asked Alice. No, it's bigger than a sea lion, replied Sam. I bet it's a spaceship. I think a tiger took a nap in your sock, said Alice. No tiger, it's definitely a train, answered Sam. I hope it's a bear, Alice giggled. I don't want a dumb bear in my sock, said Sam. I'm sure it's a pirate ship. But I want a bear, Alice pouted. Then get your own sock, said Sam, and he pulled his sock off and shook it until out popped. It's nothing but a little teeny pebble, cried Alice. Yeah, said Sam, but it could have been an airplane. Yes, it could have been, said Alice, smiling. I like planes. Now, what does her plane have on it? It has a bear. I think Alice only wanted things that had to do with animals, and Sam wanted things that had to do with travel and adventure. The next little story is called The Jungle. Sam and Alice were exploring the scariest jungle in the world. Be careful, whispered Sam. There's danger everywhere. And just then, a big mean swamp rat jumped out of the bushes. The swamp rat grabbed Sam in his paws and was about to gobble him up, shoes and all, when Alice shouted, "My brother is not a piece of cheese!" And she gave that swamp rat such a pinch that it squeaked a loud eek and dropped Sam and ran away. Boy, who was the brave one then? It was Alice. "That was close," said Sam. "The river will be safer. Follow me." So Sam and Alice paddled downstream on the dark and winding water. Suddenly, a sea monster rose up out of the water and grabbed Alice in his little flippers. It was about to swallow her whole, shoes and all, when Sam shouted, "My sister is not a fish stick." And he gave that sea monster such a pinch that it gurgled a loud blog, 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 and dropped Alice and swam away. "Let's climb to higher ground," said Sam. But as soon as they reached the top of the mountain, a cave bat swooped down and grabbed Sam in its claws. It was about to carry him off, shoes and all, when Alice didn't do anything. "Help me!" Sam yelled. "Nope," said Alice calmly. "Why not?" shouted Sam. "It's lunchtime," Alice said, smiling. Was he really being carried off by a bat? No, these two kids have a really good imagination. "I thought I was a goner," said Sam. "Not before lunch," laughed Alice. Wonder what's going to happen after lunch. This one's called The Mummy. Sam was in the backyard sandbox. "What are you making?" asked Alice. "Pyramid," replied Sam. "In Egypt there are pyramids, and inside them are mummies and treasure." Alice started to make something in the sandbox too. "What's that?" asked Sam. "It's a mummy," said Alice. "Oh yeah?" Sam laughed. "I bet if you saw a real mummy, you'd be scared to bits." "I wouldn't be scared," Alice said. "I would play games with him." "Games?" asked Sam. "Wouldn't you want to travel to Egypt with him?" "We would go to the park," said Alice. But he could reveal the secrets of the pyramid," said Sam. "We would enjoy some sunshine," said Alice. "Don't you want to know where the treasures are hidden?" asked Sam. "We would walk the dog," said Alice. "Aren't you interested in learning his language?" asked Sam. What is Sam asking him? How to say dog, that's right. "Aren't you interested in learning his language?" "We would have ice cream because mummies really like sweets," Alice said. "Do little sisters like sweets too?" asked Sam. "We sure do," said Alice. What did Alice do with some of her cookies? She put a face on her mummy. Oh my goodness. They had some really good adventures of the mind. They were using their imagination to travel to Egypt where there's mummies. There's also things there like the Sphinx. Do you know what a Sphinx is? Well, she's part lion and she's part woman and she guards the pyramids and she likes to ask riddles. So here's a little poem from the Creature Feature book and it's called The Sphinx. If she's lying like a lion, but she's acting like a minx, she's a Sphinx. If she wearies with her queries and she stares but never blinks, she's a sphinx. She's a dweller of the desert where it's hotter than a griddle, and I'll bet that she'll upset you if you cannot guess her riddle. So please avoid or be destroyed by such an antiquated jinx. She really stinks. She's the Sphinx. So can you see how she's part lion and part woman? And she guards the pyramids. Now she likes to ask riddles. And her favorite riddle was, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs at night? Do you know, boys and girls? Well, in case you ever run into the Sphinx, you can tell her the answer is man, because early in the morning, when he's a baby, he's crawling on all 4. At noontime, when he's a man, he's walking on 2 legs. And then in the evening, as he's gotten older and uses a cane, he's walking on 3. So now you know the answer to the Sphinx's riddle. And I have a riddle for you. Has hooves, has mane, has tail, can neigh. Has wings, can fly, might nest in hay. Not a horse, not a bird, wouldn't drop an egg on us, very sleek, very Greek. In a word, it's Pegasus. Isn't that true? All of those things we said were true? Has wings, can neigh, it's not really a horse, might rest in hay. Yeah, Pegasus is the winged horse. I have one more little poem for you. We're talking about different animals today, and some of them are mixed up, like half lady, half lion, horse with wings. Do you know what they call half man, half goat? They call it a satyr. And satyrs love music, and they love dancing, and they play the pipes. Pan is probably the most famous. And so we're going to do a poem about some of these half man, half goat, half lady, half goat, and they're having a square dance. Can you clap? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bow to your partner, don't be aloof. Bow to your corner, watch that hoof. Do, si, do, let's raise the roof. Doing the satyr square dance. Promenade all right up the middle, pans on the pipe and cats on the fiddle. Everyone's cooking like a red hot griddle, doing the satyr square dance. Swing your partner till she floats, Alaman left, eat your oats. Oh, what a graceful group of goats. Oh, doing the satyr, doing the satyr, doing the satyr square dance. Oh my, here he is. And the cat's on the fiddle, he's on the pipes, and they're doing a dance. Oh, they love music and dancing. Okay, now we're going to see a story about a very elusive creature. What is this coming out of the water? It might be the Loch Ness Monster. This is called Hattie and Hudson by Chris Van Dusen. Oh, you know, he doesn't really look scary at all. Hattie and Hudson. Hattie McFadden loved to explore. Every morning after breakfast, she'd grab her life jacket, wave goodbye to her parents, and paddle out in the canoe to see what she could see. Hattie discovered all kinds of things out on the lake. She watched as a beaver tugged an alder branch slowly through the water, and above, 2 bald eagles circled round and round on wings broad and flat. And over in the cove, a family of turtles with shiny black shells basked in the warm summer sun. Hattie was so happy that she just started singing. When the sun is up and the day is new and the birds are singing in the sky, that's when you'll find me in my little canoe, paddle just a paddling by. She had no idea that she was being heard. Down at the bottom of the lake, in a dark cave, there lived a mysterious creature. He was enormous, but elusive. What does that mean, boys and girls? That means he's hard to see. People don't see him. He never ventured up to the surface. He spent his days down below, all alone and out of sight. The monster was used to hearing motors buzzing and propellers churning overhead. It was why he stayed hidden in his cave. But today, he heard something different. A song, bouncy and bubbly, came echoing down through the water. So come with me, 'cause there's room for two. We'll be together, you and I, out on the lake in my little canoe. Paddle just a paddling by. It was so cheerful and charming that it drew the beast out of his lair and up towards the light. He broke through the water, drawn by the music, and there, just off to his right, was a young girl, alone in a canoe, singing. Hattie stopped when the thing rose right beside her. She stared at the monster, and the monster stared back, but she didn't feel afraid. There was something in his eyes, the way he looked at her and the curious tilt of his head. It was almost as if he wanted to hear more. So Hattie softly continued singing. When the sun goes down and the day is through and the moon is a-rising in the sky, I'll take you home in my little canoe, paddle just a paddling by. And as she sang the last note, Hattie was astonished when the giant joined in, harmonizing with a low rumble. And then someone screamed. People pointed, some fainted. Motors raced as boats fled in a frenzy. Amid all the commotion, the creature slid beneath the water, and Hattie paddled slowly and silently back to the dock. That night, Hattie tried to sleep, but every time she closed her eyes, she pictured the green, friendly face looking down at her. She wondered if she'd ever see him again. She decided she had to find out. At the bottom of the lake, the girl's sweet song played over and over again in the monster's head. He wondered if he'd ever see her again, and he decided he had to find out. Hattie paddled the canoe quietly through the darkness. She stopped, waited, and looked down into the rippling water, and suddenly a massive shape emerged from the depth. Two glowing eyes grew brighter and brighter as the shape drew closer and closer. What do you think it is, boys and girls? I think it's the monster. Suddenly, the gigantic head emerged from the water. It glistened in the moonlight. For a moment or two, the monster and the girl simply stared at each other. And then Hattie broke the silence. "Hi, I'm Hattie," she said. "The girl you met this morning? I was really hoping I'd see you again. What's your name?" The monster cocked his head. You do have a name, don't you?" The monster raised his eyebrows and cocked his head even more. Maybe you don't," she said. "Well, you kind of remind me of my uncle's dog, Hudson. Maybe I should call you Hudson. Do you like that name? Hudson?" The monster slowly smiled. "Good, I like it too," she said. "It fits you. Hello, Hudson." And just like that, they became fast friends. The little girl and the huge monster splashed and played in the silvery moonlight until Hattie realized it was time to head home. As she climbed into the canoe, she turned around smiling and said, "Hey, Hudson, let's meet again tomorrow night, okay?" Hudson nodded eagerly and he smiled back. The next afternoon, there was a meeting at the town hall. Everyone was yelling, suggesting ways to get rid of what they called the deadly beast. If only they knew him, Hattie thought. She tried to say something, but she was interrupted. She tried again, but no one heard her. She tried several times to speak, and finally she just gave up. When the meeting was over, Hattie walked home with her dad. She felt just a little sick. Hattie snuck out again that night to be with Hudson. But when they met, she didn't feel much like playing. "The townspeople saw you yesterday," she explained. "Everybody thinks you're dangerous. Tomorrow they're coming to catch you and take you away. I don't know where to, but we can't let this happen. We need a plan." Hattie was deep in thought when Hudson abruptly nudged the canoe with his nose, nearly knocking it over. "Hey!" barked Hattie. Hudson did it again. "What the heck?" Once again he bumped the boat, and then he looked at her and smiled brightly. "Wait a second. I think I know what you're doing," said Hattie. Then she added, "And this could work. This could definitely work. Hudson, you're a genius." At the break of dawn, Hattie paddled her canoe over to the town landing. The men were already gathered, loading their boats with radars and ropes and netting, and Hattie started to feel sick again. But she had to stay focused. She had to stick to the plan. She had to save her new friend. So she paddled her canoe away from the shore and to the center of the lake. And then she waited. Now it was Hudson's turn. He swam up to Hattie and he carefully bumped the bottom of the canoe. It flipped over easily. Hattie, as planned, went into the water. Hattie flailed her arms. She splashed the water. She pretended to be in serious peril. The men on the landing sprang into action. "Hang on!" somebody hollered. "We're on our way!" The boats were coming quickly, but Hattie waited and waited until they were in perfect position, and then she signaled to Hudson. "Here he goes!" He splashed right out of the water in front of all the boats. And who's right on top of his head? It's Hattie. That's right. The people stared in complete, stunned silence as Hudson slowly swam past. And when he reached the landing, he gently lowered his head so that Hattie could slide right off. Now it was Hattie's turn to hold a meeting. "This is Hudson," she said bravely. "He's a friend of mine. I know you think he's scary and mean and dangerous, but he's actually very friendly. He won't hurt you, I promise. This lake is his home, and I think he deserves to stay. Once you get to know him, I'm sure you'll agree." Hattie paused. Everyone stood still. And then a young boy slowly walked up and patted Hudson gently on the nose. And another child followed, and then another. And soon a few adults cautiously stepped forward. And before long, a crowd had gathered around Hudson. It took some convincing, but eventually everyone welcomed the idea of having Hudson around. He even became something of an attraction. People traveled from far and wide to spend time with the famous friendly monster. But when the sun went down and the visitors left, for Hattie and Hudson, everything was just as it had been since the beginning. And every night they met in the same place, played the same games, and splashed and frolicked under the big silver summer moon. What did you think of that, boys and girls? Everybody thought he was dangerous, but he really was friendly. And in the end, they thought he was a hero because they thought he saved Hattie. Hero, can we do our superhero song? Put your hands together like we're gonna be washing them. Here we go. Do like superheroes do to battle virus, cold, and flu. They scrub their hands so clean to remove the grime and goo. Now you're a hero too, 'cause you know what to do. Just keep scrubbing as you're singing. Then you'll know that you're through. All right, now you're a hero, just like Hudson was. All right, this is one of my very favorite books. Cock-a-doodle-moo, A Mixed Up Menagerie by Keith Duquette. Have you ever seen anything that looked like that? It's part rooster and part cow. Oh my goodness. All right, cock-a-doodle-moo. In ancient times, stories were told of wondrous beasts strange to behold. Many of these mystic creatures combine different animal features. Look at him. Part lion, part bird. Oh my goodness. Part dolphin, part horse. Oh wow. Oh, part serpent, part rooster. Wow. These are just some of them. There's the griffin, lion, and eagle. It will go to any measure just to guard its golden treasure. There's one called the kappa, monkey and the tortoise. A people-eating river spirit. Little children learn to fear it. We don't want to see him. Here's the hippocampus like we saw in the picture. Horse and dolphin. This proud creature was said to be ridden by the god of the sea. And this one, rooster and serpent, is called a cockatrice. A monster with poisoned breath. One look at him meant certain death. Boy, we're going to do some more friendly creatures. Although the age of myths is past, these made-up beasts are still a blast. Let's see what we can do. Let's make up some creatures too. We're going to use from the elephant all the way down to a mosquito. Let's see what they come up with. Cow plus rooster equals cooster. Imagine your surprise at dawn to be roused by a cooster's call. Cock-a-doodle-moo, I've got milk for you. He wakes you up and he brings you your milk. That's actually a useful animal, isn't it? Parrot plus gorilla is a parilla. Parilla wants a banana. Parilla wants a bunch. And then he wants your breakfast. And then he wants your lunch. Because gorillas eat a lot. Next we have giraffe and tarantula. Tarantula. If you ever chance to see it slowly creeping up a tree, my advice is let it be. Over here we have a hog and a grasshopper makes a hog hopper. Hog hopper, big bopper, belly flopper. Now we're going to have a snail plus a horse equals a snorse. The snorse races at molasses paces, inching forward in a pack. It takes 3 days to round the track because they're very slow. Mosquito and elephant, muscafant. Beware of the giant muscafant. Its stinging trunk will leave a lump that's bigger than your head. But don't you worry, don't you cry. A mosquitofunt's too fat to fly. His wings aren't big enough, are they? Squid plus poodle is a squoodle. Oodles of squoodles swimming so free, fluffy and lovely queens of the sea. But what in the world is a squoodle to do with all of this water and no shampoo? That's my favorite, I think, the squoodle. All right, frog and butterfly. Flutterfly. I think I saw a flutterfly. Yes, I saw him flutter by. And do you know just what he spoke? A very fluent croak, croak, croak. Next is the tortare, which is a tortoise and a hare. Once upon a time, the tortoise beat the hare. Now, as a tortare, they're winning as a pair. This way, both the tortoise and the hare win. All right, let's see. Flying squirrel plus moose is the flying squoose. When a flying squoose is on the loose, can oak and spruce take the abuse? No, I see all the branches breaking off because a moose is much too big to be in a tree. Okay, firefly plus pigeon equals firefligeon. A flock of firefligeons cooing in the dark each and every night. A light show in the park. They're all on the statue. All right, of all the animals we could combine, what kind of creature would you design? Let your imagination run free. Create your own menagerie. What if we did starfish and shark? Stark? Oh, that's a good one. What about bat and peacock? Bateacock. How about leopard and lizard? Leopizzard? Oh my. How about ostrich and rhinoceros? Rhinostrich? I want you this week to try combining some animals all on your own and see what you can come up with. I would love to hear some of your ideas. Maybe you'll draw a picture of a starstrich or the rhinostrich. Okay, I have one more little book called No Such Things by Bill Peet. What are those? He almost looks like a leopard, but he's pink and white. This is a collection that Mr. Peet has written of animals that he's made up. So let's read a couple of them. The golden brown crested pie-faced physiques have huge appetites to match their big beaks, and their three-toed unusual pitchfork-like feet are perfect for picking the cherries they eat. To make sure everyone in the flock gets his share, there's a strict pecking order to keep it all fair. This means that the smaller ones stay in their place till the bigger physiques are done filling their face. What? It's a pie-shaped face full of cherries. It looks like a cherry pie. Let's find another one. Okay. Ooh. It's no fun for the flumpers to crawl on the ground, so they coil themselves up to be perfectly round. And then they go for a spin, a wild whirling ride, far out in the hilly, broad countryside. After so many miles of rolling about, they discover their rubbery hides have worn out. Since they can't be retreaded once they go flat, there's nothing the flumpers can do after that. So he's a round tire here. Uh-oh, he's got a hole. He's got a flat. They just have to rest now. Let's see. Ooh, the juggerumps. Juggerum. The juggerums have a most impolite way of overpowering their high-flying prey. They use their strong breath, one potent gruff, to stun dragonflies if they fly close enough. Then the dragonflies drop as if someone had shot them with no idea of what could have just got them. Then cross-eyed and dizzy down the flies come to end up inside of the old jug of rum. Jug of rum. Sounds like a bullfrog, doesn't it? Let's do... Oh, here we go. If the fancy fandangos seem stuck up and snooty, it's mostly because of their exquisite beauty. They're most often seen with smug, smiling faces by a crystal clear pond in a jungle oasis. There they linger for hours with nothing to do but sip the sweet water and admire the view. And the view they admire, as you might well suppose, is their own reflection right under their nose. That's all they do all day? They just look at themselves in the water? Oh my goodness. They are very beautiful though. The pen-headed magok, who towers up to the sky, has a bird's eye view even though he can't fly. And since his beak is so amazingly small, he must feed on the tiniest creatures that crawl. And with so much frenzied pecking to do, he sees things more often from a worm's eye view. With his beak an inch or two from the ground, he peeks into crannies where bugs can be found. Boy, that's a strange looking animal. Pinhead Maguk. Here's a good one. The skizaboo skis are completely self-grown, so you might say these skiers ski on their own. Swoosh! They take off in a smooth, easy glide aboard their big horns down a steep mountainside. The skizaboos have such a wonderful time if the return trip weren't such a torturous climb. With the horns hook on snags and keep bumping their knees, then they wish they weren't quite so attached to their skis. So they use their own horns for skis. All right, here's the last one. When the flummox goes fishing, he doesn't need bait. All he needs is the patience to sit still and wait. First, he picks out a spot where it's shady and cool, and he lets his long beard flow down into a pool. Then deep in his gullet, the foxy old flummox makes a sound just like water running over the rocks. Soon the fish come leaping up the fake waterfall, then glug-a-loop, the sly flummox swallows them all. Boy, that's a sneaky way to go fishing, isn't it? All right, that's all the stories we have time for today. I hope that tomorrow you will join Mr. Tim at 10:30 for his adventure story time. And then I will see you again on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Can we do our goodbye songs? Cowboy, cowgirl, goodbye first. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yeehaw! Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yeehaw! Oh, it's time to say goodbye, so give a smile and wink an eye. It's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yeehaw! Oh, I think Pan and his friends would have loved that song. And the last is our animal goodbye. Join me. See you later, alligator, after a while, crocodile. Give a hug, ladybug, blow a kiss, jellyfish. See you soon, big baboon, out the door, dinosaur. Take care, polar bear, wave goodbye, butterfly. Bye-bye, story time, friends. I'll see you again on Thursday afternoon.